The Chicago Bulls now sit 45 games into the regular season, a little bit over the midway point of the year. So I figured now is the perfect time to do a little bit of a mid-season check-in for the Chicago Bulls. A lot has been going on, and there's still a lot left of the year. So why not take a look back at what the Chicago Bulls have done so far, and also take a look forward at how they can correct some things and get things working in the right way. So if you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. It truly means the world to me. But let's not waste any more of your time. Let's go and get right into things. Now, as mentioned, the Chicago Bulls are at 45 games at a 21-24 record, currently sitting at the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference, just inside the playoffs, actually the last seed in the play-in. Now, of course, halfway through the year, there's a lot of things that could change in these final 30-some games, but they've put themselves in a spot that, although a lot of people expected, and I'm sure they wanted to be in a better position, they're still at least in the playoff contention area, which is good enough for a team that I still think has a lot going for them through the rest of the year. Now, this team could change a lot, and there will be a video pretty soon here with the trade deadline coming close on potential trades for this Bulls team, but there's a lot that could change. Let's take a look back first. So first, let's take a look at the standings. Now, of course, as mentioned, in the Eastern Conference, the Chicago Bulls are currently your 10th seed and are the last spot in the play-in, which, not what you would hope for, but still decent nonetheless. And if the year were to end, they would be facing the Knicks, which, honestly, Knicks, I think, have been playing a little bit above expectations, especially with how things went last year. Nonetheless, the Bulls only sit 2 games above the 11th seed, so they don't have a huge lead in front of the Raptors. And potentially with a loss here and just a little bit of bad stretch, the Bulls could quickly fall out of the playoffs once again. But the Bulls' best upside has, been against your interconference teams in total with a 17-13 record against all Eastern Conference teams, every single one of them. Doesn't matter where they seed. 17-13, which is pretty decent because, of course, those are the teams you're going to be facing once playoffs come along, as long as you are to make them. So 17-13 is, quite solid and good to see. Now, oddly enough, the Bulls do their best work in the, entire NBA when they're going against some of these top talented teams. They are 9-3 when going against the Bucks, Celtics, Nets, 76ers, and the Heat. Those are your top 5 seeds. Nope, top 6. I missed the Cavaliers. I'm not sure what the stat looks like. But I will say I think the Bulls have lost 2 or 3 games to the Cavs already. So they're like 9-5 against your top 6 seeds in the Eastern Conference. They do really, really good against your top seeds, which, of course, is really important if they are to break into the playoffs, the actual playoffs, and make their way through the play-in. That's a really, really good stat to look at. And you just hope to see that they can correct some things and continue that dominance against some of these top-level teams, especially in the Eastern Conference, but also start to beat some of these lower-tier teams to, bolster their standings position as well as their record. Now, league-wide, the Bulls rank 22nd in the entire league based on win percentage. So, if it was the entire league, 10 teams, put the whole league together, the Bulls would actually be outside of the playoffs right now. The East, a little bit light, especially on the bottom side of things. At the top, they're really, really good teams. But they currently sit at a .467 win percentage. Not the best, but surely something that can be corrected through the back half of the year. Now, the Bulls have been horrible going against Western Conference teams, which a little bit weird. I mean, you're going 17-13 against Eastern Conference teams. You would think you could be able to maintain somewhere close to the 500 mark, but instead the Bulls fall to 4-11 against Western Conference teams. Pretty much 2-to-1 ratio. That is not good at all. And one good mark, though, is they do have a winning record at home, which is very, very important, with 12-10, just slightly above your 500 mark, but they face an 8-14 record on the road. Definitely a, big transparency between facing Eastern Conference teams and Western Conference teams and doing that at home versus away. So hopefully we can see, they're continue to do well when they're at home and against Eastern Conference teams, but hopefully they can start to find a way to get wins, not only on the road, but especially against Western Conference teams, and start to correct their path a little bit here. But how did the Bulls end up near the bottom of the league at 22nd ranked overall win percentage? Now, the team hasn't been able to pull it all together, and statistically, they have not been great, even though they're still sitting on the edge of the playoffs. So let's take a look at some of these total team stats. So at first, we're going to be looking at the points for Vegas, like their stats for Vegas. First off, they are 13th in points per game. So, pretty decent there, pretty solid offensive team, and that's coming with the fact you've missed Zach LaVine, you've missed DeMar DeRozan, you've missed some top performers throughout the year, and you've still maintained that 13th spot above average, and you're still missing Lonzo Ball, which is a key contributor to this offense. You are 5th in field goal percentage. This team is incredible, and a lot of that does come to DeMar DeRozan being an incredible field goal percentage shooter, 5th in the entire league, but it's pretty obvious if you're 5th in the entire league in field goal percentage, but you're 13th in points per game, that there's something that's lacking, and that's going to be the three-point attempts for the Bulls. They rank 30th in the entire league. They do not attempt very many threes per game, but they are 6th in threes percentage. So if you were to, maintain this percentage and bump your amount of attempts per game, this team would likely skyrocket in the points per game and likely win a good portion of games, losing about, when you average everything out, how much you're winning by, how much you're losing by, and average it throughout the whole league, they're negative 2.4 points, I think. Maybe that's changed since I did these stats. But, that's one extra three right there. This Bulls team could just completely flip how their record sits. So if you get a couple more threes up and you maintain your three-point percentage, this team could look very, very good. But there is not a lot of three-point shooters. Vooch, pretty solid three-point shooter, for being honest, but used a lot in the block. Drummond has not shot any threes this year. Zach is an incredible shooter. P. Will, and we'll get into some player stats in a little bit. But DeMar does not shoot many. Javonte Green does not shoot many. Caruso doesn't shoot many, if we're being honest, either. Same with P. Will. Both those are high-performance three-point shooters, but they don't shoot a lot of them. They just have a really good percentage. So if we can see some of these players get a little bit more shots up and maintain this team could look very, very different. They're also 24th in free throw attempts, not attempting a whole lot of free throws, which is a little bit weird because DeMar DeRozan is one of the, at least last year, was one of the guys that was getting the most fouls. 24th in free throw attempts, but they're 5th in free throw percentage. So once again, if you can find a way to bump that, that could be a big part in winning some games that you were going to lose. They also are 27th in offensive rebounds. This team is really, really bad at giving themselves a shot at a second chance opportunity. If they could, and I think a lot of that comes to coaching. A lot of time when that ball goes up, you're pulling your players back. You're getting them back on defense. And I think that's a good thing, especially with a team that's not great defensively, to do such a thing. But hopefully, we just get a couple lucky bounces here and there. You get a little bit more offensive rebounds. But 27th, just darn near at the bottom of the league. You like to see that go up. They are the 9th in defensive rebounds, which is pretty solid. But once you even those out, offensive and defensive, they are 24th in total rebounds. Once again, not very good, near the bottom of the league. 19th in assists, which I think with Lonzo Ball still being out, kind of makes sense. Zach and DeMar are pretty decent at moving the ball around, but you don't see Caruso or Ayo move the ball as much as you would hope or expect them to once Lonzo returns. If he returns, hopefully you can see that assist number come up. But 19th in the league is not horrible. They are 10th in steals, top 10, very, very good stat there, and 15th in blocks, so a little bit above the halfway point. So a lot better defensively, at least on your steal blocks, than maybe expected when you look at the points per game ratio, and they're 7th in turnovers. They don't turn the ball over very much, which of course is a great way to maintain, not allowing points freely to the opposition. Now, speaking of the opposition, these stats, and we're going to flip these and go for against the Bulls, when teams are playing against the Bulls. So we're not doing all the stats, but 18th in points per game, so a little bit over, midway through. The Bulls are allowing a little bit more points per game than average. They're 21st in field goal percentage, so really good at forcing difficult. Oh, sorry, we're flipping this. So they're not great at forcing difficult shots. Now they're not horrible, but it could definitely improve. 25th in three percentage, which is no surprise. Teams are always hitting threes on the Bulls, all the time. And 29th in assists. Those are your stats for and against for the Bulls. Now, this team wouldn't be anywhere if it wasn't for the players. So let's take a look at some of these player stats. So we're only going to be looking at each stat specifically, and the number one player on the team, the one that has the highest of said stat, and the second, which would be your honorable mention. We're not looking at each player, oh, Patrick Williams averaging this, blah, blah, blah. We're just going to, go points, this guy, and so on and so forth. You'll understand pretty quickly. For points, DeMar DeRozan is first, 26.1, which is very, very good, and Zach LaVine is at 24.1. Two incredible scorers on this team, some of the best duo in the league, at least points-wise. They've done a really, really good job. Hopefully you can see the rest of the guys, pick it up a little bit. Vooch is the top rebounder with 11, with Drummond at 6.8. DeMar is your top assist producer, which is a little bit of a surprise, with 4.9, with Zach at 4.3. We have Caruso at 1.7 steals, and Zach and DeMar are second place with 1 steal per game. Really, really good. I mean, I think both Zach and DeMar get a lot of slack for not being great on defense. So the fact that they're tied for the second best on the team and averaging 1 steal per game is honestly really, really good to see. P. Will is tied for the number 1 spot with Vucevic for 0.9 blocks per game, almost at that 1. And, with a little bit of luck here in the next few games, maybe they jump up to that 1 spot. Drummond has the best field goal percentage with 60.1. Of course, he didn't shoot a whole lot of threes. Actually, I think 0 on the year. And a lot of his shots are going up in the paint. So he's going to have a very good percentage. 60.1 is a very good number. And Javonte also has a 58.7, which is a really, really good stat there. And the best three-point percentage is P. Will, no surprise, at 42.1. But a little bit of surprise here, Alex Caruso at 39.1. That's a really, really good number there. 39.1 for Caruso. I'd like to see him get a little bit more of those shots, but I will say it seems like a lot of time Caruso's shots, three-point-wise, are either coming up late in the shot clock where he's forced to, or completely wide open. Zach is your third spot, I think only like 2 down. A little bit of fun fact, P. Will is pretty close to that 50-40-90 club. I think if he gets like 2 free throw percentage up, and I'm not sure how much his field goal percentage needs to go up, but I mean, he's already over 40 for 3-point percentage. Maybe we see P. Will creep in that 50-40-90, a really prestigious club. Maybe we get a little bit of luck there. But the Bulls certainly have not ended up at this current moment where they wanted to be, but will they be able to turn around? How can they turn around? I think the most important factor in that is going to be your upcoming games. The next section of games here, which would put them up to 60 games about 3/4 of the way through. We're going to go in order. Hawks, Pacers, Hornets, Magic, Clippers, Hornets again, Blazers, Spurs, Grizzlies, Nets, Cavs, Magic, Pacers, Bucks, Nets. Yes, we went through really, really quick, and now we're going to double back here. So, excuse me, a little bit of hiccup there. We have the Hawks and the Pacers, 2 teams that are slightly above the Bulls. 2 teams that are pretty solid. The Hawks game will be tomorrow. So, you got 2 playoff teams right here. Pretty, solid start there. Hopefully they will be able to take them out, and make their way potentially into that 9 seed. If you beat both the Hawks and the Pacers, you would move to 26 wins not 26 wins. You would move to 23 wins and could take that seed away from the Pacers. You cannot jump the Hawks quite yet. But 2 playoff teams coming up next. The Hornets, of course, are not a playoff team at this current moment and likely aren't going to make their way into that, as well as the Magic, both being out right there. Then you're going to have the Hornets again. Missed a team right there. You're going to have the Clippers in there, who are a playoff team. They're currently the 8th seed. The Hornets, not a playoff team once again. And then next up, you have the Blazers, who sit outside of the playoffs of the 12th seed, which I'm honestly a little surprised about. I thought they'd do a little bit better right there. And then you're going to have the Spurs as well as the Grizzlies. Of course, the Grizzlies are the number 2 seed in the West and a really, really good team, with the Spurs being near the bottom of the league. Nets, who once again are a top team, but the Bulls have had a great way of taking them down. Then the Cavs, who are a playoff team once again. I think the 5th seed. And the Bulls have struggled against the Cavs quite a lot. Magic, not in playoffs. Pacers in the playoffs, 1 seed ahead of the Bulls at the current moment, Bucks, and the Nets. So of these next 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 games, you have 9 of the next 15 games are going to be against playoff teams. So a little bit of a tough stretch here, but the Bulls, of course, have done better against, better teams, which is a little bit weird here. And, putting them at 3/4 of the way through the year, at 60 games, they, a lot could change here. A lot of tough games here. I could see them breaking even right here. I don't know how much higher they're going to go above 500 with, 9 of these 15 games being against, your playoff teams. So I'm not sure if they're going to be able to jump over that 500 mark through these next 15. I think they're going to sit right around it. And I don't think Lonzo's going to return within this stretch of games right here. Maybe a little bit after. I think if he does return, it will kind of be in preparation for that playoff push if he does return at all. But the Bulls, potentially, through these next 15 games, could, make some huge changes, not only in the standings, but also as a team, to the 60-game point through 15 games, you could take a massive, massive leap with, a lot of luck. I mean, a lot of luck. 15 wins. I don't think you're getting 15 wins, but let's say a lot of luck puts them at 10 wins through these next 15. That moves you to 31. I'd say you could theoretically, with a little bit of luck from some other teams above you struggling, and you winning 10 of the next 15, which I don't think is outrageous for what this team looks like on paper. Maybe not super likely, but I don't think it's outrageous to look at. 10 wins would put Vegas at 31, and I think that potentially could slip them into the playoffs. No longer in the play-in, but into the playoffs with a little bit of luck on this side. At least move them to the top half of the play-in with a little bit of luck. But on the other side of things, with the trade deadline approaching on February 9th, this team in that same stretch of time, 15 games, could also see a dramatic shift in personnel. Whether that's bringing somebody in or moving somebody out, we're not quite sure. We'll likely have a video on that soon, but a lot could change. So, the Bulls currently sitting at 21-24, a little bit through halfway this season, certainly haven't reached expectations, especially mine. I thought they're going to be a lot better team. And there's a lot that they could change and a lot to improve on, but I want to take a little bit of a look back. So, what are your guys' thoughts on the year so far? What do you think, has been holding them back through the first half of the year, and how can they improve it and fix it through the remaining portion of the season? Comment that all down below. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. It truly means the world to me. And as always, I hope it taught something today. Hope it made you smile. Hope it made you laugh. Something really important to me. Affects my day in a great way, because every single day can be a great day if we all just put in the effort. And as always, you guys all be safe out there.